So if we can have everyone take their seats and get going. My name is Duncan McHugh. Anine, welcome to all of you here, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and share with us on this important day with the Law Society. Thank you to the Law Society, Haikshka Miigwech, for inviting me to MC. I'm a reporter with CBC News. You may see me on The National, which is hosted by Peter Mansbridge. I see in the notes of my bio that it says I'm a trained lawyer, which sounds suspiciously like trained SEAL. Maybe that's why I went into television. But I did graduate from UBC many moons ago and got my call to the bar here in British Columbia. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the Musqueam people for sharing their territory with all of us. Sometimes as we go about our busy days here in Vancouver, it can be difficult to remember that we are in the territory of traditional peoples, the Salish, and it's good to take time every day, if you can, to acknowledge and remember that. And so if I could invite Elder Larry Grant from the Musqueam First Nation to come up, he's going to start our ceremony off today.
Thank you, Duncan. My name's Larry Grant. I'm from the Musqueam people. Ayatlak is my name. Asiyam Nasiaya Ayatlak Konasquik, Tenitinat Humasquim. The Ek Bonasiuener, Kayapalano, Equal Timoto. La Kusana Siuener, Kus Hilaksto, to Quinar, Emignatin, Kus we to San Tamokat Humasquim. It's Liquid Seatala, to Mogalop Hui, he to stay out at UBC, to need to Tamokat Humasquim. Something neat as well. I'm Larry Grant. I'm a Musqueam elder. You get that way by default. I'm a resident. I'm one of the resident elders here at the UBC First Nations House of Learning, and I'm a consultant at Musqueam in the Language and Culture Department, and also I'm an adjunct professor in the First Nations Language Program, Faculty of Arts at UBC. I just want to say, Ayatlak is my name. Kayapalano and Kultimoto are my ancestors, and they were here to greet Captain Narvaez, the Spaniard, and the Dutchman, Vancouver, flying under the English flag, and they were here to greet those two people. And I'm descended from Kayapalano. And Kayapalano had a village here, had a fort roughly around the Museum of Anthropology. He also had a house at Jericho, Locarno area, and he also had a house at what is known today as Capilano Indian Reserve. Capilano is Kayapalano in English. That's how English misspell things and lose things in translation. And our language continuum was throughout the Metro Vancouver region, the Greater Vancouver Regional District. And for those of you that are not aware of that, that means from Point Grey to Horseshoe Bay, across the mountains, to Port Moody, into Coquitlam, Gatesy, which is now known as the Tri-Cities area, up into Kwantlen, Fort Langley, and up into Sumat. That's Sumat. And then back down on the south shore to Sawathan and back. That's where our language continuum was. However, written history tries to change that. And today, we are doing things with written history, and Musqueam has never been aligned with the churches or the institutions. Even though Musqueam is the home of the Sparrow case and the Guerin case, we were never ever aligned with the churches that gave us written history that many of our people think is real. So all of the written history about Aboriginal people is much like the precedent set in court. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. And it all depends who's telling the story. And today, I know I'm here to say an honoring for Judge Alfred Scow, but it all comes down to many, many things, because I don't know if many of you, you're all lawyers, you're all students, you're all golfers. Shaughnessy Golf Course is on the Musqueam Indian Reserve. It's 8 kilometers in that direction. And I don't know if you ever use this term, lands held in reserve for the Indians thereon. It's called a reserve. But in reality, it's a minimum security prison. You know, and the residential schools are the maximum security prison. So if you use that terminology, society will get an understanding of who we are as a people. Because when Alfred went to school here, it was an amazing thing that here was a Department of Indian Affairs Indian coming to school here. And he's actually going to law school. I wonder what he thinks he's going to do there. So that's something that has moved from the young man that came to school here. And I was working in the machine shop. And all of the people in the machine shop said, who the hell does he think he is? You know? Does he think he's going to change the world for Aboriginals? And the concept that was there at the time is, you guys are just too lazy to work. How is he going to do it? You know, and he's made great strides for us as the first law graduate student and the first judge on the bench. And I really want to say thank you for Alfred for spearheading that and sticking it out and fighting the societal norms, which are still there today, but society today has more post-secondary education, so they're more sophisticated about it. And that's something that has never really changed. We like to say it has, but it hasn't. In my life experience, it's not there. We still have to prove that my oral history is still correct, even though some of our own lawyers will say, yeah, this is Musqueam land, this is Squamish land, or whatever, but it's our oral history is real. So it's just something that I think Alfred has worked on, and worked on his Aboriginal teachings to make him a good judge, because the old teachings are what we strive for. However, industry takes its toll on the realities of life and the goodness of life. So that's something that I think Alfred has to be commended for, in using a lot of his old teachings in his writings, and a lot of times in his talking when he's here. So without any more of that, I would like to say Congratulations to Alfred Scow for all of the work he's achieved and the things that he's done in his life and the doors that he has opened for us. And I raise my hands in thanks to Alfred. Thank you. Ashka.
If people around the corner there can't see, you may want feel free to get up and just move over, find a spot where you can see. This is a lovely pole of my own clan, actually, of the wolf clan, but wolves do have a tendency to get out in front and get in the way of things. So feel free to move over. Thank you, Larry. Our next speaker, again, we do want to raise our hands and thank the Law Society for putting on this important event. The way they sold it to me was that they said, we're going to have a bunch of First Nation lawyers who are going to share their secrets. And so I've got my notepad, my journalism notepad, and I'm ready for secrets. This is like brown paper envelopes to me, you know. Our next speaker is going to explain a little bit about why the Law Society is putting on that event and is a very respected man in the legal community, bencher for almost a decade now, Glenn Ridgway.
I'm one of those things the Law Society wished they could keep secret. Welcome today. I must say before I start off with my remarks, I'm thrilled, and I think our staff and people involved in this, I don't want to use the term outreach, but outreach are very, very happy with the people today, particularly those not sitting in these front tables, you folks in the back. When you start one of these programs, you're just not sure of the uptake of it, and we're very, very happy with the numbers here today and hope this day turns out to be very useful to you. My name is Glenn Ridgway. I am the president of the Law Society for this year, and it's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the benchers and the lawyers of British Columbia to this discussion today. We have a great program, and before we start off, I'd like to thank Elder Larry Grant, who I just met today, for welcoming us today. Thank you very much. Larry, I've had the great pleasure for my 38 years at the bar to spend most of it in the traditional territory of the Cowichan tribes, and they've always been very welcoming to me, and thank you, Larry, for welcoming us today. We've met our moderator already. I was supposed to introduce him, but somehow 2 or 3 speakers in, I still have to introduce him. Duncan McHugh, who will be our moderator today, is, I'm told, I think he told me this, is an award-winning journalist. His television stories are seen across the country on the CBC flagship show, The National. Today we're going to hear from a number of Aboriginal lawyers about their inspirational stories and strategies for success in the profession. Duncan, as he indicated, started out as a lawyer, but soon found a better way. With his background and ability to engage the public in ideas, we are thrilled when he agreed to act as our moderator today. We are equally thrilled by the high caliber of panel we have presenting today. Tina Dion of the Scow Institute will tell us about the groundbreaking legal career of the now retired Judge Alfred Scow. I'm going to have a few remarks at the end about that, at the end of my remarks about that as well. We will hear from Judge Scow himself. Then Grand Chief Edward John, who also has had a tremendous career, will tell us his story. He's been involved